You're listening to Success Stalkers Radio, episode number 4 with Sarada Bonnet. Welcome to Success Stalkers Radio. I am your host, Iona Garrett. People all over the globe are rewriting the rules to success. They're making money and changing the world. Join me Monday through Friday as I interview today's top entrepreneurs, business leaders, and entertainers that will leave you inspired to take action and achieve success on purpose. Are you ready? Let's dive right in. Okay, Success Stalkers, let's get started. I am your host, Iona Garrett, and this is another episode of Success Stalkers Radio. I am simply thrilled to introduce my guest today, Sarada Bonnet. Sarada, are you ready to stalk some success today?
I am, Iona, I am.
Good deal. Well, native of Dallas, Texas, author and entrepreneur Sarada Bonnet started her career in marketing 20 years ago at the ripe age of 18 when she founded her own food brokerage firm in Dallas to help pay for college. Experiencing success in the very first year, her company began handling companies such as Sara Lee and more, covering more than 80 grocery stores. And after falling in love with Louisiana a few years later, Sarada has remained a resident for the past 18 years, finding her way into the real estate industry and hosting her own real estate TV talk show called Trends. Her career in real estate has earned her many accolades and awards, and more recently, Sarada has become the author of a book called Notes of Forgiveness, A Daughter's Journey and a Mother's Gift. So Sarada, I've given our listeners just a little overview, so let's take a minute and let you tell us about yourself personally, because we want to get to know you, and then give us a brief overview of your success path.
You know, I started in marketing, like you said, over 20 years ago, and I started at 18. I felt like my dad told me, he said, you know, Shook, I'd love to pay for college, but I think you're having a little bit too much fun, and I'm not going to do it. And I said, well, you know, that's fine too. I'll work and then hopefully be able to do it on my own. And I just started, and I was a natural with marketing. One, because I love people, and two, because I was very service-oriented. I had learned that from a very early age. And, you know, marketing is just that. It's service. And it's getting to know people and loving people for real. That's what it is. It's people want to do business with people they know. People want to do business with people that they trust. People want to do business with people that they feel are genuine. And, you know, that's what made my path so easy in marketing. My mom was raised by a singer. She had toured with Elvis Presley and opened for him for 2 years. And Sammy Davis Jr., Pat Boone, you know, Buddy Holly played backup for my mom. And so I came from a very different background, if you will. One
Fascinating.
Yeah, one that allowed me to write a book about forgiveness, and that book I'll talk a little bit about later. But, you know, what else would you like to know?
Sure. Well, that's perfect. Well, we're going to definitely dive way into your journey a little later in the interview. But before we do, we always like to start Success Stalkers Radio off with a success quote to really get that motivational ball rolling. So take it away.
For me, every day we wake up with a choice. We can either work very hard or lay down and let life, you know, step on us, because life always wants to knock us down. To me, get back up, laugh at it, try a little harder, work a little smarter, and always be consistent, and you'll not fail.
That's good. So, Sarada, can you tell us, you know, how you've used that mantra, you know, and applied it to your journey along the way?
You know, I can, especially with publishing the book. I was a first-time author, and finding someone that would, one, help me, and two, publish an unpublished author, which is why I have a co-author on the book, finding that would help you in that journey. But once you've done that, then you have to find the right publisher that would accept your vision. Because it's funny, you talk to authors and they'll tell you, oh my gosh, my book's not even what I wrote. I mean, they change things, they do things. And I was just dead set. It was my story. It was my mom's story. I was dead set on the story being pure and honest and, the truth. So, I had to turn down a few traditional publishers, and, that was difficult. It was in some aspects what people would failure, I would consider it a learning experience.
Gotcha. Well, here at Success Talkers Radio, we are all about the story and, and your journey. And I know that you've had an amazing journey along the way. But we want to first focus on a failure, a time in your life, and you kind of touched on it just a second ago, but a time in your life where you maybe fell just flat out on your face, and we want you to take us there for just a moment and then share a lesson with us that you learned from a failure, whether it was in your career, in your life.
Iona, it's failure to me, and when people say failure, it's a learning opportunity that is either ignored or forgotten about. And I've always tried, when I've failed, to use that and walk away a better person, either personally or professionally, because that to me is not considered a failure. So when we say fail,
right,
it's real hard. Now, did I fall flat on my face? Of course I did. That goes right back to trying to find a publisher and, just the proper steps to take to get to the next level. That to me was hard and what I would consider a failure at first. It took me 2 years. So, but not to give up and to stay consistent were huge, and that's how I was able to use that mantra. Always working hard, and when life gives you, tries to knock you down, laugh at it and get back up and say, you know what, not me, not today.
That's good. That's good, because we're always going to be challenged in our life along the way, on our path. But I always think that, failure is always directly linked to success, because I've had many failures, but I've learned so much from them that it's like, if I hadn't had those failures, would I have really attained that success? So,
right.
It's like you actually fail forward, and there's a book out there, and I've read it before. I'm not sure if you heard of it, but it is so true that you can fail forward.
That's exactly correct. I absolutely believe that 100%.
Yeah. So, Sarada, let's go forward and transition to the other end of the spectrum, which is the aha moment, that light bulb moment, because just like you've had lessons that you've learned from failures, you've also had some amazing ideas that have helped you become successful. So just tell us one, Sarada, and remember, this is a story. Again, we want you to take us there with you when you had this moment, and then tell us what steps you took to turn that aha moment into success.
Well, let's see. Probably, I'll just tell you an aha moment I had the other day. I walked into a little small store in Covington, and you know how little Covington is. And the lady behind the counter said, "You're the girl from the cover of Sophisticated Woman." And I said, "Yes, I am, and thank you for reading it." And she said, "Well, I just want to tell you that I cut out one of your quotes when you were being interviewed, and I sent it to a lady in South Carolina that was in need of help, and her daughter was in need of letting go and being able to forgive." And my book is about forgiveness, and I talk a lot about being able to let go and forgive, and my aha moment was the moment that I let go and forgave my mom for some of the things that I experienced as a young adult. So when that lady said that she sent that quote out to South Carolina, it made me realize that all of the things that I've worked so hard for 5 years, putting all of my, failures and triumphs and the abilities to fail, put it down on paper and struggled to get it published, that it actually is going to help someone. And that moment was a very big light bulb and aha moment, and I was grateful. It's a grateful moment as well.
Wow, Sarada, that is just profound. That is awesome. I can't even imagine how you must have felt, in that moment when she told you that.
I tell you what, it brought tears to my eyes because, like you, and I know you love people, and I love people, and just wanting to help them and move them to the next level. And, you know, whether that's in a personal or a professional way, it just meant a lot. That
Yeah.
it really happened. I was like, wow, okay, good. I was so excited.
It's so rewarding, you know? It's just the best feeling that you could ever have. And, you know, Sarada, what I want to do now is just shift for just a minute because we want to shine the spotlight on you for just a moment. I want you to share with our listeners, what is your proudest entrepreneurial moment or your proudest moment in your career?
My proudest moment in my career. Well, I don't know. You know, I have several businesses, and
Right.
the one business that, you know, marketing is huge for me. But this book has been probably the proudest moment when I actually got to hold that book in my hand and see it and feel it and, you know, turn the pages. That was 5 years of struggle that culminated at that one moment that was just, you know, that took the place of any award I had won, walking across the stage, getting something saying, you know, you're the national sales manager and #1 salesperson, and, you know, all of those things. That was wonderful and great.
Yeah.
Even TV show, I had a TV show for a while, and, you know, filming that was great and wonderful. But that book, I tell you what, holding that, because I'd never worked for anything harder in my life than that.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. Wow. You know, someday I have aspirations to write a book as well. So I'll definitely be seeking counsel from you in the future.
Please do
on
it.
that.
I love helping.
Good. I know you do. That's why I'm going to call on you. Well, you know, Sarada, we both know, and you kind of touched on a few of these things, that, you know, being an entrepreneur can be sometimes a roller coaster of emotions. And, you know, I'm sure you would agree with that, because you can be up today and within the next 24 hours, you're down, frustrated, and just ready to quit, you know. So tell us, how do you keep your focus and how do you keep the end result in mind?
You know, Iona, I wake up every morning and I pray. I sit down and I spend 5 or 10 minutes alone. I write down what my goals and objectives are for the day. I pray and I get my head right, and then I walk out the door.
That's awesome.
And at night, I do the same thing. I come home at night before I go to bed. I close my eyes and I thank God for all the wonderful things that He allowed me to do. And I ask that I'm able to make Him even more proud of who I, you know, am and was the day before. And, you know, the clarity that brings and the consistency that brings, because, you know, we all know as marketing people or, you know, entrepreneurs that we have to make contact with people every day.
Right.
That's just it. I mean, we've got to wake up. Our whole goal has to be, you know, get on the phone and call people, have, you know, face-to-faces with people, do the things that will cause, you know, that will allow that money to flow and your business to succeed. We all know that, but it's hard to get people to understand that it starts in the quiet of your own home. You have to wake up and focus and think about being successful and what that's going to take every day.
You're so right. You are so right on. And I do the same. I have pretty much the same routine as you in the mornings when I get up. You know, I do that. I pray and meditate, and I write my goals. And, you know, I write them again. I write my goals a lot, actually, because I write them the night before, then I write them again the next morning, because you have to keep them in front of you, you know, in order to keep, you know, to keep focused and keep that vision, you know, alive.
Right.
And it's so important.
And then, yes, and then taking what you've written and applying it practically is what makes all the difference in the world. And like with you, when we talk about you possibly wanting to write a book, I'll tell you how I did it. I woke up earlier than everybody in the morning, and I went to bed later than everybody at night. I would wake up and write for 10 minutes in the morning, and I would write for 10 minutes at night. And I didn't allow anything in that 10 minutes to distract me. It was just, I'm writing.
Yes.
And it didn't matter what I wrote. It didn't matter if it made sense to anybody else. It made sense to me.
Right.
And I wrote for 10 minutes, so that it was 20 minutes a day. It took me 5 years to get this book out. And it's so I tell everybody, the achievement of something is desired, planned, or attempted. That's what it is. That's what definition. Success by definition is to achieve something desired, planned, or attempted. Success to me is laying my head down at night knowing I did everything I could to be successful that day and to make the world a better place.
Oh, wow. That's good stuff, girl. That is good. I know our listeners are just getting some great, great nuggets and takeaways from what you're saying today, and this is just so, I'm even getting some. This is wonderful. So,
well, thank you.
Yeah, so what I want to do now is to ask you one question about some new projects. What do you have going on right now? Do you have any new projects that you can share with us?
You know what? I do have a new project. My husband and I are actually writing a book together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it is. I can't talk exactly about what it's about because we have a contract already. Crazy. It took me 5 years to get that book out, but yet we've got a contract already to write a book for a situation that had happened that's a national story. Mm-hmm. And the family came to us and asked us if we would consider writing the book, which is very, it's a great thing when you're asked by a family that has had a loss to come and write something about, it's very humbling.
Yes.
So, we're going to be able to do that and hopefully have that out within, a year. That's our timeline. That's what we're looking at. And when people ask me what it was or what it is that really changed my life or made or really helped me business-wise, like business advice, I was told to find a mentor and to be a mentor, because you can always glean and pull from someone else, but you can always share your nuggets. It's very important.
That's good. And that actually leads me into what we're about to segment into right now, because having a mentor is so important. I've had several mentors throughout my journey, and I still have mentors, and I'm telling you, it helps me because it helps to keep me accountable. And, I have people that I can go to, when I'm in a situation that they've already gotten credit, they have credits in the box, so they can help me, and that's what it's I can't stress that enough to new people or people starting out in business. Find a mentor, especially in the area of business or career that you're looking to go into is really important as well. But this is my favorite part of the interview, Sarada, and it's called the success round. Because what I want to do is throw some questions at you, and then I want you to throw some back at me, some knockout answers.
All right.
Is that fair enough?
Fair enough.
Fair enough? Good deal. All right, so what was it that held you back from becoming an entrepreneur before you started?
Iona, I was 18 years old when I started. I've never allowed anything to hold me back.
That's good. That's good stuff. I love that. I love it. Well, what is the best business advice you've ever received, and who gave it to you?
I'd like to go back to that find a mentor. However, Zig Ziglar, who taught my parents' Sunday school class, who I used to sneak in to listen to when I was little, he always had these great little nuggets that he would share, and, success, if you will, just little blurbs, and mine was always see you at the top. I always believe that if you put your hand down and you help somebody else above you, then you're always going to be at the top, always.
How amazing is that? Zig Ziglar taught your parents Sunday school?
Sure did.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yeah, he did.
Phenomenal. That's amazing. Wow. I had to just take a moment and just kind of let that settle in. Like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah, I talk about him in my book, actually. I talk about him being one of the men that made a very big impact on my life, it's really kind of funny. I was too young to really understand, but I loved his method of teaching, and so I would just go in, sneak in, and listen. Never actually went up and took his hand or
right.
anything.
That's fascinating. I've got to get your book. I've definitely got to get your book like ASAP because I want to read it. I'm excited about that.
Oh, thank you.
Good. And the next question is, do you have an internet tool or online business app that you use currently to grow your business, Sarada?
You're probably going to laugh a little bit, but LinkedIn and email have the best ROIs across the board. LinkedIn is, if you just use their basic LinkedIn, it's very inexpensive, and your email is very inexpensive.
Right.
And my return on investment for those two products has been phenomenal across the board.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, what two books would you recommend to our listeners? Of course, we're going to recommend your book as well. But are there any other books that you would recommend to our listeners?
Yeah, and surprisingly enough, of course, my first one's going to be the Bible. That book, if you read it, there's so many life lessons and so many, believe it or not, marketing lessons. And we'll go into that another day, but we won't talk about that right now. But, that, of course, is the number one. And two is there's a book called The Spirit to Serve, and it's J.W. Marriott's Way. He wrote a book about how he took his company from a multi-million-dollar company to a multi-billion-dollar company and how that happened. And in every aspect, I don't care what business you're in, I don't care what you do, you are in the service industry. Whether you're serving, whether you're in a hotel environment or restaurant environment, that is truly a service industry, but it doesn't matter because if just your industry, my industry, we're all in the service industry. We are in a marketing position, from the girl that answers the phone to the guy that writes the checks. They're all in service. And if we all get that, it's just how to build a greater, better business. That's it.
Right. We are in the people business. You're absolutely right.
Yes, we are.
And we have to know how to, to service them and just having that servant heart. And I can see why, he's done so well, because when you have a servant's heart, you can't help but to flourish, and your business, can't help but to grow when you're that way.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah, definitely. Well, my last and final question is, I want you to first, let's just have some fun here, Sarada. I want you to imagine that you woke up tomorrow morning in a brand new world, identical to Earth, but you knew no one. You still have all the experience and knowledge you currently have today. Your food and your shelter is taken care of, but all you have is a laptop and $500. What would you do in the next 7 days?
All right, so this is going to be shocking. I would find a church. Then I would start with my Chamber of Commerce. They have a huge resource. Okay. People don't understand what their chamber has for them as far as marketing, B2B, you name it. They have an amazing resource. I would move on to professional women's organizations, just trying to place some roots in the community a little bit to find out what's going on. Find my mentor, find a bookstore, and also my local library and reading clubs. That's if I was trying to market my book. So yeah, that would be what I would do.
That is a great answer. That's just awesome. I mean, you have it all laid out. And surely you'll be back, where you were, because that's the foundation, you have,
right.
That's definitely the foundation. Well, Sarada, hearing your journey today has been truly motivating and certainly inspiring. And before we end, I want you to give our success stalkers one parting piece of advice, and then we'll, and then tell them the best way they can find you, and then we'll say goodbye.
Best advice: work hard, work smart, and be consistent. Those are the things that will help you move from mediocre to great. It just will. My name is Sarada Bonnet. You can find me at www.saradabonnet.com or Facebook, Sarada Bonnet, or you can email me at saradabonnet@gmail.com.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, thank you so much, Sarada. I know our listeners, again, have gotten some really good takeaways and some nuggets from you today, but they can also find the links to everything that we've been chatting about today also on successstalkers.com/Sarada Bonnet. And it will all be there, all there in the show notes. So, and just to let you know that. So again, Sarada, we really appreciate you for being so generous with your time and just being transparent with your journey today.
Thank you.
So we say thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you. And for everyone out there listening, thanks for tuning in. And until our next episode, remember to keep stalking success. In today's takeaway, Sarada said that failure is a learning opportunity that is either ignored or forgotten about. So success stalkers, learn to fail forward because there will always be challenges on the road to freedom. Adversity will always provide greater opportunities. But remember, failure is not your enemy. It takes adversity to achieve success. Well, that'll do it for another episode of Success Stalkers Radio. If you'd like to hear more from these inspiring entrepreneurs and entertainers, be sure to subscribe to the Success Stalkers Radio podcast on iTunes. And if you found value in this episode, give us a review, hopefully 5 stars. You may also visit us at successstalkers.com. Leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you.